So today is going to be my May reading wrap up. I did not do one for April. I didn't do an April May to be read, or I didn't do it, and I didn't do a April wrap up because I recorded a video for both, and then I was so tired and overwhelmed with April was busy. April was a busy month, and then it was my niece's birthdays. It was finals, not finals, but midterms, and my video was just awful. So I didn't put it up, and then I didn't have time to record it. So I'm doing this one early so I can have this one up, actually up. And for April was also a terrible reading month. It was I probably graded like 8 books, and they were all books I didn't like. I think the theme for the a year-thon was classics, and I read Peter Pan, The Time Machine, The Wizard of Oz, and maybe something else, and I didn't enjoy any of them. I'm just not a classic fan. And then I just spent the whole video that I recorded talking about how much I was bored, and then I talked really fast, and it was also an awful video, so I didn't put it up. So May had a better reading month somehow, even though May was even more busy in school. But I read 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books. I don't have a page count because I forgot to do that before I started recording this. So maybe I'll put it down in the description for my own future information about how many pages I read, because I know it was a lot because big books. It was the big book month. So I know I had to have read a lot of pages for May. So I'll put that down in the description after I count them up after this video. Okay, so I'm going to start in the order of least to least, my least favorites of the month to my favorites, and then when I get to it in the year-thon read, I'll just mention it. The year-thon challenge was a rereading, I think rereading, and then big books, and I did both. I reread big books, so I finally actually completed both the challenge and the theme. Okay, so the first book, it wasn't a year-thon book, but this was like one of my least favorite books of the month. It was for another book club, and I DNF'd it for the most part. It was, and people love this series, so it might be a good book. I just wasn't my favorite type of book. It's called Reawakened by Colleen Houck, and it was about like an ancient Egyptian prince or something, and it's like, I don't know. The back of it says, a modern girl, an ancient prince, a centuries-old curse. So it's this guy, he's cursed, and this girl awakens. I found the main character to be a bit of an airhead. Kind of, I'm pretty sure teens will enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. Thought the girl was an airhead, so I couldn't get into it. And it was just weirdness going on. I just found myself skipping through most of it and not liking it at all. And like, I just ended up, I probably read to like a page 100, and I read the last chapter. That was about it. The next book, which was, I think I liked less than I liked the first book actually, but I probably rated, I don't think I rated these any stars. I didn't rate this one any stars because I didn't finish it, and I rated this one like 1 star because it was awful. I got this as a book of the month book, Homesick for Another World by Tessa Moss. And I remember I didn't even want a book this month. It was the month of January. I didn't even want a book, but the only reason I ended up getting one was because it came with this free book, which is not down here. Alyssa, do you see a tiny book on my bed?
Tiny.
No, a tiny book, not a big book. It's like a little small book. It has like a yellow cover. Oh, never mind. It is down here. Never mind. Sorry. I ended up getting a book anyway because it came with a free book, and I wanted the free book. So yeah, this was awful. It was short stories, and the short stories got weirder and weirder and weirder, and I just don't understand the point of any of them at all. I didn't like this book at all. Then I read The Grown Up also this month for a rainbow readathon I was doing. So it was my yellow, and The Grown Up was interesting. It was just like a Gillian Flynn novel, and the ending didn't have an ending. It was like, okay, what happens next at the end? I think I gave it like 3 stars. Let's see. The next book, I guess the rest of the books are like 4 and 5 star books. Let's read. I read Perfect Little World, another thing for a Rainbow Readathon. This was like my reddish, even though it's kind of orange. Perfect Little World by Kevin Wilson. I really enjoyed this book. I knew I was going to enjoy it when I picked it out for February, book of the month. It was about a girl. She gets pregnant by her high school art teacher or something who's like crazy. He has some kind of mental disorder, and so she ends up going into some kind of program called the what's it called? The Perfect Family, or the Infinite Family Project. So basically, her and all these other people raise all their children together, and the kids don't know who their parents are until they're like 7 years old, and so they all just take turns with everybody's babies, and it's just an interesting psychology type book. It's very interesting. This is like a study that I can actually see happening somewhere out there in the world. People actually doing this, and it ends up ending badly. Well, I could see it ended badly in the real world in this book, and I really liked it. It kind of was predictable, because I knew it was going to end badly, but it was a really good read. So that was about, I think, 4 stars. Next, I think I started this in April, or maybe I read. Yeah, I think I finished Born at Midnight in April, and then I started Awake at Dawn in May. So Shadow Falls, the beginning, is 2 books in one, and these books were very, very good. They're very teenager-ish, but it was written really well. It's like hilarious. It's like the girl, the main character, she sees ghosts all the time, and her parents don't believe her, and they get divorced, and like her mom sends her off to some camp that I don't even know where the mom got the idea for the camp was, where she got the idea to send her to this camp. Oh, from her the daughter psychologist recommended she gets into this camp, and the camp is full of werewolves and vampires, and it turns out she's supernatural too, and she does not know they never find out what type of supernatural power what type of being she is. She's not a vampire, she's not a fairy, she's not a witch, she's like undiagnosable, and it's really good. The second book, she's still not diagnosed. I just got the 3rd and 4th book. I can't wait to read them. It's a good mix of light funniness and a little bit of romance. It's good for high schoolers, young adults. It's a good book. Good series of books. It's like 4 and 5 star books. Next, I read Hunted by Megan Spooner for another book club. It was just a pick, and it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I read a lot of those this month. This was a really good Beauty and the Beast retelling. It was very interesting. Like the setup reminded me of the first Akatar book. It was like a girl, her 3 sisters in the woods. They have a father and stuff, but then that's the similarities. And I liked that it was a standalone, and there wasn't going to be a sequel, because I read a lot of series this month, and I love standalones. And this was a really well written one, and like they have like certain parts, like the beginning of every chapter starts with the Beast narration, and the Beast's little pages are my favorite part of the book. They are so interesting, and they get more and more interesting as the book goes on. Very good book. I loved all the characters. It was a very good set of characters. Like there was like really no like evil kind of villain. There was like a villain, but it wasn't like like the standard type of villain. It was good. So the next thing, I don't know, all these books in front of me right now I loved, but I'm going to start with go back to my year-thon reads, which was Big Books reread, and that was Akatar and A Court of Thorn and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. I reread these. They're big books. I loved them the first time I read them. I loved them even more the second time I read them, because I knew what to look for. As soon as Rhysand came in, I was like, yep, things are about to get good. I love these books. So I reread those. Then, of course, May came along, and A Court of Wings and Ruin came out, and course I read it. I didn't read this copy because you can see it's not tabbed up because I have 2 copies of this because I was serious about this book. I got the signed personalized copy, so happy about that. And then I got the Target edition, which is the one I read, and I read the Target edition. I liked it. Before I started, I was like, I'm never going to finish reading the rest of the series because I don't want to read anymore. It's the end of Fran and Sand. But this 3rd book made me want to keep reading about the other characters. Like, the character growth was great in this 3rd book, and I think I will finish reading the series, even if it's a different main characters or whatever. I loved all the characters in the book. Okay, so the last 3. Let's start with Alumina. Alumina was another Rainbow Readathon book. I had this on my shelf for a while. I heard good things about it. When I first started reading it, I was like, oh, heck no. Why do people love this book so much? But then a couple chapters in, well, it's not chapters, so maybe about 200 pages. Yes, 200 pages in exactly is when I start liking this book. Because it's like 600 pages. This thing is huge. It got so good. Very, very, it reminds me a lot of Battlestar Galactica, but not Battlestar Galactica at the same time. But the chat, like the little military like type lingo, reminded me of it. And they were on the spaceship. They were in space, so that's another thing. Yeah, this thing gets very, very interesting. I can't believe I have Gemini. I'm gonna read that next month, but I can't believe I have to wait until 2018 for that 3rd book to come out. I would recommend this book to anybody of any age because it is very, very good. Very interesting. Like, I have like a sticker that says, "Am I not merciful?" or something. I was like, where the heck did that mess come from? Until I read this book finally. Then I'm going to talk about 6 of Crows. I read a lot of first books of some series this month. 6 of Crows. I have been wanting to read this since I read what's the other one? The Grisha trilogy, and it did not disappoint. It was 10 times better than all 3 Grisha books put together. 6 of Crows was so freaking good. Can't wait to read Crooked Kingdom. I can even not say it. Do you see the tabs going on this book? It's like ridiculous. It was so good. Like, Kaz, one of the best characters. All the characters, all of the 6 were pretty good freaking characters. Great book. And then the last book, which is my favorite book, it might be one of my favorite books I read all year. Nope, it was right the first time. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I got this in my Fairy Loot box way back when. I don't remember, March I think. And it was been sitting on my shelf with these cute blue pages. Another book tabbed up a whole lot. I have not read Laini Taylor's other book series. What's it called? Daughter of Smoking Bone. I heard it was really good. I have it on my bookshelf. I have not read it, so I read this because I'm pretty sure I was supposed to read it for a book club, and then I read it anyway for my blue book for the Rainbow Readathon, and it did not disappoint. Everything about this book was awesome. The whole world, the main characters. I keep saying main characters for all these books. I read too many books. I can't remember the main characters' names. Obviously, Strange, and then Siri. What was her name? There's a lot of characters. Great book. I can't say enough. Like, if you're thinking about reading this book, read it, because I read this in one day because I could not stop reading it, and then I didn't study for a test because this book took up a whole Sunday. Yes, last Sunday is when I read this, so a week ago. And it was a great book, but this video is like 14 minutes long. I'm going to stop. That was my May reading wrap up, and I'll be recording my other one. Thanks for watching. Bye.